It is time for another Dollar Tree DIY Christmas home decor video, so let's jump right in. So I found these little canisters. You've seen me use these before. I'm going to pick up 2 of these, and we can use these for so many different projects. I also have this little house sign. I'm going to tear that apart and use that for this project. And I'm going to be using 2 of these little dessert cups, 2 curtain rings, and then a pack of the 3 little trees in the Christmas section. I'll use some craft sticks and then some faux snow. I was going to use these little styrofoam balls, but I end up using some Epsom salt instead. So I'm going to take 2 of my cups, 2 of my rings, and then I'm going to dismantle my little houses. And this takes a little bit of muscle, but once you just kind of twist it around and pull it off, you can get it off of that piece of wire. I'm going to use all 4 of these little houses, and the really cool thing about this is I can use some acetone and just get those letters off and use that white kind of distressed looking finish that's already on the house. I left a little bit of the black on one of them just to give my houses a little bit of dimension and a different color for each one that's going to be showing. And then I'm going to take my black paint pen. I get these from Walmart, but you can also order them on Amazon. And I'm just going to make a bunch of little windows and some doors, just squares free-handed. I don't want them to be perfect, and this takes no time at all. You just make the squares in different sizes and in different patterns just to make them look like little houses, and we're looking into the windows and doors. This is going to be a little town of Bethlehem, and so we definitely don't need them to be perfect. So now I'm going to carefully remove all of the tape and stickers off of my canisters, and you kind of want to be careful with this just so you don't scratch that acrylic or plastic, whatever these are made out of. And then I'm going to take my dessert cups and put a bead of hot glue right along the edge of that and place that right on top of each of my lids. I'll do one on each one, and I'm going to try and make these look like ornaments. So it's okay if there's a little bit of glue that seeps out. It's not going to show because we're going to spray paint this with some silver. But I'm just going to try and be really careful. So, you know, it's at a minimum, but most of that's going to be covered up. And you know, I don't like to see any hot glue seeping out of anything. So then I'm going to take my napkin rings, add some more hot glue, and attach those to the very top. And then I took these outside to my painting station, and Michael J. set this up with a piece of scrap cardboard and put it on top of a crate, which is on top of a Lazy Susan, and then he was able to spray all the sides, so we got complete coverage. So now using my hot glue, I'm going to put 2 of my houses together, and I want them at different heights. So I'm going to put one a little bit lower and a little bit higher, and I'm only able to put 2 in here at a time because the little opening is kind of small. So I'm going to test it to see exactly how I want this. And then the reason I can't put 3 at the same time is because that opening is just not big enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 4th little house and put it on the bottom. That's going to be our platform to raise it a little bit. And then I'm going to hot glue the 2 that I already put together on top of that one piece. And then I'll show you here in a second what it looks like, because I don't want my houses to be covered completely by the Epsom salt or the snow. So you see here, it's got the little piece at the bottom to lift it up. And then I'll add that 3rd house on the back of my middle one so that they're in, you know, different heights and makes it look really cute, like a little town of Bethlehem. And so once that's all attached and super cutie patootie, I'm going to add the larger tree from that 3-pack, and I'll put that right in the back of my houses. Isn't that so cute? So now it's time to add our snow. And again, you can use any kind of snow that you want. I'm going to be using the Epsom salt, but you can also use the faux snow with the sparkliness in it, or the little foam balls, whatever you think is super cute. And I'm just going to pour that in there and move it around so that it doesn't cover up my houses. And I'll do that in the front and in the back. And I forgot to mention, these containers have one flat side, so you can lay it on its side or you can have it standing straight up. I decided to do one leaning over and one standing up, but you'll see that in a second. So now for my other canister, I'm going to take some craft sticks and cut those down. I'm putting a couple of them together using the leftover, you know, the end that I cut off, and I'm just going to hot glue those together to make little planks. And then I'm going to use a little craft cube and glue that to the corner. I'm going to do a little bit of like a V, you'll see here in a second, and just glue those together. And so those little blocks are giving it that security and a place to glue it on so that it stays together and snug as a bug in a rug. And then just to give it some more cuteness, I decided to put a couple of planks on the outside going the opposite direction, so it looks like it's a little wooden manger, because that's what we're making. And so I thought about staining this, but I thought it was really pretty the way it was. And I didn't add legs. I was really trying to figure out how to make legs, but I decided it didn't even really need it. So then I'm just going to take some Spanish moss and hot glue that into the bed of my manger and let that be all messy and pretty. And then I'll take some scrap burlap and I'm going to hot glue that right on top of my moss. And then that's going to be the little swaddling. So I'm going to glue that in just a second. But first I took a wooden bead, and that'll be Jesus's little baby head. And I want to make sure that the holes are at the side so the moss and the burlap kind of cover it up so it doesn't look like it's a bead. And then I needed a little more oomph to it. I could have just stuffed it, but I decided to add a Jenga block as Jesus's little body. And then that way I had something to glue my burlap onto. And then I'm just going to kind of mushy it up and make it a little bit wrinkled so it looks like a little blanket. So now I'm going to add some more snow to the bottom of my canister. I finished up the one bag and then had to use a little bit from a second bag of Epsom salt to get it to the level that I wanted. And then I'm going to add my little trees to the back corner, and I pushed one of them down further so that it had that staggered look. And then I'll just place my manger right inside. So now I'm going to take my little toppers and add those on, and see, you can take them on and off if you wanted to. You could add lights to this too. That would be really pretty. But then I'm going to take a little bit of greenery from the Dollar Tree and hot glue that to the front part of my topper. And I just added a couple on each side. You don't even have to do this, but I thought it was really cute just to give it some more Christmas flair. And then I took a little silver bell to kind of match the silver topper and hot glued that right into the middle of both of those. And now you can see you just have one on the side and one standing up. And here they are, all finished. I love how this turned out, and I think it's just so perfect for the Christmas season and remembering the true reason for the season. I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. Today's video is part 2 of a fun Christmas collaboration. Part 1 was 'Tis the Season, and this week's video is, you guessed it, To Be Jolly. And here are my beautiful and very jolly crafting sisters. There's Linda at Linda's DIY by Design, Emily at Farm Charm Chic, and Patty at Patty J Good. If you're stopping by from one of their channels, welcome to our little sparrow's nest. And if you haven't seen their videos yet, as soon as you're done here, go check out their videos and tell them I said hi. I'll have both playlists linked in the description box below. And now, on to our next project. For this DIY, I'm going to be using this styrofoam wreath from the Dollar Tree, a pizza pan, and I found these really pretty candle holders. There's 4 of them here. They're in this really pretty gold. And then I have the infamous little Dollar Tree chalkboard tags. We're going to be using 4 of those. And then I thought this was so cool. Dollar Tree carries these pretty taper candles, but they have them in the 2-pack with 2 purples, but they also have the packs with just the pink and the purple. And that can probably only be for one reason, right? So I'm going to take my candle holder and I'm going to mark out the distance on the base so that I can cut little slits out, or I can cut little pieces out of my wreath form. And that way my candle holder can kind of sit down about halfway down into my wreath so that it's snug as a bug in a rug. So I'm just going to take my styrofoam knife. I mean, it's not specifically made for styrofoam, but I made it into my styrofoam knife. And so I'm going to cut those pieces out, and I went about halfway down and then pulled that excess styrofoam out, and now my candle holder has a little place to live. And we'll attach those a little bit later, but we still have some other stuff to do. So now I'm going to take some celery chalk paint by Waverly. I get this at Walmart, and I'm going to paint both the front and the backs of my little tags. And I'm telling you, I was really behind in my crafting this week because we had a hectic week. So I got the help from my sweet Michael J. He doesn't know I'm filming right here and his hair is a mess. Sorry, Michael J. But he's helping me all the way through with all of these projects so that I could get them done in time. Anyway, I'm going to take some jute twine and I'm going to tie a little knot at the top of all of my tags going through that top hole that's already in them. And I'm really not going to be hanging this, but you'll see what I'm going to do in just a second. So I want to get these on first, and then I'm going to use my black paint pen to write on each of my tags. So the first tag is going to say hope, and I'm just doing this in freehand. You can use your vinyl cutter or whatever you want. The second tag is going to say peace, and then the third will say joy, and then the fourth one will say love. And then on the backs of each of these, this is for an Advent wreath. I think you already figured that out, but I forgot to say that. Anyway, each of those candles correspond with each of the 4 weeks prior to Christmas. So they also have a different meaning for each of those weeks. So the first candle is hope, and we call that the prophecy candle. And then peace is the Bethlehem candle. Joy is the shepherd's candle, and that candle's going to be in pink, just kind of because we're excited and we're almost there and the Savior is about to be born. That's also called Gaudete Sunday. And then the 4th week is love, and that's called the angel's candle. So on the back of each of my tags, once the paint was dry, I'm going to turn it over and write those corresponding meanings on the back. So once my tags are all done, I'm going to take the jute twine and cut off the excess. I really only want the knotted part so that I have something to adhere to my glue that I'm going to put at the bottom like you see me doing here. And then I'll put my tag on there, and now it's going to hang from the bottom of the candle holder part. And it'll be in that little circle. Isn't that cute? Okay, so we're going to do that for all 4 of those. And then once I get those on, I'm going to take my pizza pan and use a whole bunch of hot glue to attach my styrofoam wreath right into the center of the pizza pan. Push that all down. And then I'm going to take a roll of this Dollar Tree greenery and wrap that all the way around my pan until I cover up the silver, because I don't want to see that, but that way I don't have to paint it either. And every now and then I'm going to use some hot glue to keep that in place. So this is going to cover up the pizza pan and that floral foam. And then we're going to be adding some more Dollar Tree Christmas greenery, so it's going to really cover it all up. So now I'm going to take some hot glue and attach my candle holders onto my wreath form. And I used quite a bit of glue so that they're not going to go anywhere. And then once I get those all in place, I'm going to take that inside wrap of the greenery and kind of pull it in so that it covers the inside as well. And I have a nice big area in the middle of my Advent wreath. So now I'm going to take some of this really pretty frosty greenery from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to poke those into the styrofoam or wherever I can. And you can even go like underneath in between the wreath form and the pizza pan. There's a little area in there. You could glue these in too if you wanted to, but they stay pretty good. And then I'm going to make sure that all of my stems are going in the same direction. And the greenery of an Advent wreath is symbolic of the everlasting love that God has for us. So it's usually done with, evergreens. And the significance of the circle of the wreath is that God's love for us is never ending. So I'm just going to poke all of that greenery into my wreath, and then I'm going to add some really pretty frosted berries from the Dollar Tree. And they're already kind of gathered together with the wire stems in little pairs. So I'm just going to scatter those around throughout my wreath. And then once I get done with all of those and I like how it looks, I'm going to take my candles and put them with their corresponding tags. And then I'm going to take a lighter and light the bottom of my candles to make sure they stand up straight inside of their candle holders. And then for the middle, most of the time, most Advent wreaths, you can put a white candle in the middle, and that signifies that it's the birth of Jesus and he's here. But I made this super pretty nativity dome in another video. I'll have it linked below. I wanted that right in the middle of my pizza pan, and I just think it is so beautiful. Now, for some reason, my candles are completely straight, but when I film it, they look a little crooked, and I couldn't figure out why, or I don't know. It's just a trick of the eye, I guess, on film. But I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. So every now and then Dollar Tree carries some really fancy frames and original items. I found these really pretty frames, or I don't even know, they're like hanger type of frames. You'll see it when I pull them out, but I was looking for 3 of the round ones. I couldn't find the round ones. I just found these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess hexagons. And so I bought 3 of those, and I did check again just recently. They still have these. I still didn't find any of the round ones, but anyway, you can do this with either shape. So those are right below like where the wallpaper is. I just wanted to show you where you might find them. Anyway, I'm going to take some of these garland ties, and I'm just wrapping it around the metal on all 3 of these. And then I'm going to leave one side a little bit long because that's what I'm going to use to attach all 3 together. Now you can use this as a hanging piece of decor, or you can do it like I'm going to show you here. But I'm going to use some of Dollar Tree's pre-made little gingham bows in the black and white check, and then some of the red berries that you see there. And then I picked up a super cute package of Dollar Tree cards, and these are to put gift cards inside of them. I'm going to use this on top of some black cardstock that I had on hand. Now, originally what I had planned to do was put some pictures in these, but because I ran out of time, I wasn't able to get the pictures. So this was my second idea, or, you know, my filler, since I didn't get those pictures together. But I'm going to put those inside of the picture frame, but it would be so much prettier if you did have pictures. I have 3 children, and I was going to put their, you know, one child in each frame, which would be so pretty, especially at the end, and I'll show you that in a second. But this was my backup plan. It's still pretty cute too with the little red truck. And then I attached the bows to the top, and those also have little zip tie, or not zip ties, but you know, the little twist ties. So you can just put those onto the piece that's on the top of those frames. You see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to add those berries. I did 3 little bunches on each one of my frames. And these berries have the little wire stems on them, and they're in little clusters of 3. So those worked out perfectly. And I didn't have to use any glue or anything. I just wrapped the stems around that metal frame. And then using that excess garland tie that we left on each of the frames, I'm going to use that to attach them side by side. So I did 2 together, and then once that one's done, I'll add the other 2 sides to that last frame. Does that make sense? I don't know. But anyway, you see what I'm doing here. And then I just added some more berries where it needed it. I accidentally wrapped one of the chains into the close when I closed up one of the sides. So, but I'm showing you how you can hang it. I don't have any place to hang it, and I knew I wanted to put a light inside. So I'm just going to use my needle nose pliers and take those chains off, and I'll be able to use those for something else, I'm sure. So I picked up one of these Dollar Tree candles. I did not know that it was going to be psychedelic, crazy colors. I think it's cute too with those different colors if you like that, but I decided to go with a pop light with just the white. So I'm going to set my little pop pop light right on top of a cake plate that I had in red, which is perfect for this. And then I'll put my frame right over that light. And you see how this would be so much prettier if you had the pictures in there, because the pictures, you wouldn't have the black cardstock, it wouldn't be doubled over, and the light would shine right through those pictures. But anyway, this is my backup plan. I still love it, and I hope you guys like it too. So I am super excited. We are finally getting our main bedroom redecorated, redone. We just gutted the whole thing, and I'll have that video for you. It's a super easy video to do and not as emotional as my craft room. But while we were at the Home Depot, we were getting our baseboards picked out. Michael J was doing his thing down the road there. And so I accidentally stumbled upon these really pretty spindles, or they're called country legs, so I guess it's for like a chair or something, but I thought they were so pretty. And then I found these little filigree pieces in the same aisle, and I just thought I could do something with this as soon as I saw them. So I'm going to take my antique wax and I'm going to mix a little bit of my mineral chalk paint together to give these legs a stain, but kind of a lighter stain. Now I want these to be staggered, so I'm going to have Michael J cut one of them down, and I'm just going to mark where I want it cut, and then he's going to take it outside to the chop saw and get that cut down so that I can have two different sizes. And then I'm going to take my little filigree cutouts and get those ready to be stained as well. Now I always do it with a paintbrush and then wipe it off with a paper towel. But Michael J came in and, trying to help as usual, he brought me one of his old socks that he has out in the garage and told me to put it on my hand and do it this way. I am telling you guys, this is a game changer. This was so much easier. I know it looks silly, but it was so easy to do, and it was so smooth and had the prettiest finish once I was able to, you know, put my hand into the paint and then rub it onto my piece. So it was perfect, and it went so much faster. Now I did have to take a brush to get into the little nooks and crannies, but that was easy work. So then I took my filigree cutouts, and I'm going to use my matte wax or varnish by Waverly and just rub that on there as well. And I can show you here the difference. It was very subtle, but I liked the look of that, and it's going to give it a protected coat. So now I took a Dollar Tree frame that I found, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with this using that mixture just to give it a coordinated look, so I can put this along with my two spindles. And then I took a sanding sponge, and I'm just going to give it a little sanding, a very light sanding, because it's already so pretty, and that wood grain is just, oh, I love that. So now I'm going to take my little pieces, and these are going to become angels. The big one, I want my wings to be a little bit longer, so I'm just going to overlap them and then hot glue them in the middle so that they stay together. And then eventually I'm going to use my brad nailer to attach these to the back of those spindles. And then for the smaller one, I'm going to push them a little further in so that the wings are a little bit smaller and it's proportionate to each of my spindles. So once I get those glued, I'm going to make a little halo using some jute twine. Now, it would be really pretty if you use some gold thread or gold twine of some sort, but I just really like the rustic look of this. So I'm just going to wrap that around the very top a few times and then tie it in a knot and then cut off that excess. And now we have a little halo. And I always get questions about my twine canister, and I'll have a video linked in the description box below. I think I usually leave that one in there every time because you guys like that. And this is a Dollar Tree canister that you can make into a very useful twine holder and string holder. I have 3 of them, and they each hold a different kind of string of some sort. So anyway, I'm going to take my brad nailer and push that into the back side of my spindle and make sure it goes all the way through both of my filigree pieces and into that spindle. So now I wanted to put a little sign right next to it using that really pretty Dollar Tree frame. So on my computer, I just printed out "Glory to God in the highest." And that was what the angels proclaimed to the shepherds. And so I'm just doing some different fonts. I don't even know what these were. I'll have it linked down below. And that's from the scripture, Luke chapter 2, verse 14. But it's just the first part of the 14th verse. So you put a little A next to it so you know it's not the full verse. And then I'll take some more pretty Christmas greenery with a little bit of glitter and glam and hot glue that to the top left corner of my frame just to give it some Christmas goodness. And then I put those longer ones down first, and then I took some of the little shorter, chubbier ones with the little balls on there, and I'll attach that to the side. You could add a bow to this too, but I didn't think it needed it. And here they are all finished, and I absolutely love how these turned out. Obviously not a Dollar Tree DIY, but you know, I was right there and I saw it and I just thought, hey, why not? So I hope you guys enjoyed these projects, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think. If you're not already, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button down below, as well as the little bell right next to it so that you can be notified every time I upload a brand new video. Don't forget to check out the playlist below, and don't forget the reason for the season. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and remember to always be the light. Bye.